Okay, good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. There's a lot going on, Baruch Hashem. So the fact that you people are here tonight is a great testament to your Ahavat Torah. Parashat Korach. You know, it's very fitting that this class is dedicated for my grandmother. And that's because my grandmother was a woman who was the staple of our family. She knew through her subtle ways, her subtle comments, her subtle activities, how to bring all the cousins together. The cousins, the uncles, the aunts, everybody, to bring us all together, make sure that we're united. And it's very fitting because Parashat Korach talks about division. Machloket. Okay, let's go to the parasha right now, shall we? Okay, Parashat Korach, we know Parashat that Korach is jealous. Why is he jealous? Because he was skipped over, right? Moshe Rabbeinu becomes the Melech. His brother becomes the Kohen Gadol. His cousin, Eliezer van Muziel, he becomes an Asi of Levi. And Korach takes a look and says, it's not fair. Why did the son of Amram, the both sons, they receive positions of prominence, prestige, and I get nothing? And he decides, it's enough for you. What are you doing? Why are you obtaining, holding, retaining all of this importance for yourself? And you're leaving everybody else with nothing. Kulam kedoshim, tochav Hashem, umadut itnasu al Hashem. So I want to talk tonight about the concept of machloket. I want to talk about division, about disharmony, discord. Okay, and I have a couple of questions. Question number one, machloket. Where does it come from? What's the source of machloket? The source of disunity, the source of discord, of fighting, of quarrels. Where does it come from? Why do people fight? Okay, question number two. How do I stop division? How do I stop machloket? How do I stop the fights, the quarrels? How do I make harmony? And number three, Rabbi Zeytouneh, why am I here tonight? In other words, I understand we're going to talk about machloket today. I understand we're going to talk about division. I know we can talk about harmony, about peace, about tranquility, serenity. It's wonderful. But why did Borei Olam want me to come to this class? Or why am I watching this class? Why am I listening to this? I'm asking you really, why are you here? No, anyway, right? So let's get started. Bezrat Hashem. Everybody ready? Are you ready? Because you're here for a reason. I'm here for the food. I don't know why you're here. Okay, ready? Let's get started. The Zohar HaKadosh comes and writes something phenomenal. Listen to the Zohar. Ready? Says the Zohar. Da kedusha she'areh b'chabura v'seyem b'chabura. Anything that is holy, that has sanctity, anything that is consecrated, always begins with unity and it ends with unity. Commences and ends with shalom, with peace. That's wonderful. However, aval b'kelipa, but anything that's associated with things that are impure, with things that are contaminated, shareh b'chabura v'sayem b'peruda, begins together in unity, in unison, and ends in division. So a person comes now and you're arguing with somebody, and you want to know, is what I'm arguing about, is that something that's coming from a place of holiness? Or is it the Yetzer Hara? Is it the inclination that's making me fight, that's making me offended, that's getting me a little bit offstandish? And you want to know, what's the source of this quarrel? Take a look at the end. At the end, are we together? Are we united? Or are we divided? Chas v'shalom. And that's going to determine, that's going to help you ascertain whether my machlok and my fight today is really l'shem shamayim, or maybe not so l'shem shamayim. There's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avot. And the Mishnah writes, Kol machloket shehi l'shem shamayim, so far yitkayem. Any machloket, any quarrel, any division, that's really for the sake of heaven, or for something that's really founded, at the end of the day, it's going to endure. What do you mean endure? So the rabbi is right. What it means is, at the end, there's going to be peace. There's going to be acquiescing of minds. There's going to be a malleation, I think that's the word, right? Of sides. They're going to come and they're going to melt together. That's how you can tell if someone's a Shem Shamayim or not. In fact, we know if a person takes a look throughout the Shas, throughout the Gemara, always, take a look. What is the biggest machloket, or the biggest factions of machloket that you'll find in the Gemara? Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel always divided on so many issues. There are perakim dedicated on telling us the division between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. However, the rabbi is right that Bet Shammai would marry off their daughters to people of Bet Hillel. And Bet Hillel would marry over their daughters to people of Bet Shammai. They wouldn't abstain from allowing their children to come and date each other. You know, one of the biggest disasters I've ever heard, one of the most bewildering things I've ever heard, is when I don't allow my daughter to date a person from a different sub-community. I'm not even talking about Sephardim and Ashkenazim. Okay? That's also, it might be an issue. But I'm talking even within the Sephardim. Not allowing my daughter to go out with a person who was just, across the border. For instance, a person has a daughter and he's Halabi. He's from Halab. Okay? And his daughter wants to marry or date a guy. They're setting a suggestion from Sham. No. Why no? What do you mean? We eat bizeh. We don't eat bazera. Right? He's catching. That's why they can't go out. No, you don't understand. It's different. I don't know. So if you want to know whether or not such an ideology is al pi Torah or not, does it stem from a kom shel kedusha or chas v'shalom from tumah? Understand, at the end of the day, is there going to be unity? Are you going to be together? Is there togetherness or not? A person has to remember, there are people who say different things. Different things. So when I call my grandmother Teta. Okay? We're from Lebanon. Teta. I know that the Egyptians call their grandma Nunna. I know we had Bukharians here. And I asked them, how do you call you? They say Babula. Okay? I want my son calling his Babula. Right? That's why you're not going to let it go out with a Bukhari. Chaz v'shalom. So a person has to realize, when I come and I want to abstain from entertaining a certain group, is it really Shem Shemaim? Is it coming from a Makom Kedusha? Or coming Chaz v'shalom from a Makom Shel Tum'ah? Now 1 second. In fact, you have to hear this Ben Ish Chai. The Ben Ish Chai comes and he quotes a Gemara Gittin. And the Gemara Gittin says that one time there was a group. And this group, not a group, was a couple. And this couple were fighting. Okay, they were fighting. Everybody fights. All couples fight. But what happened? When would they fight the most? Shabbat. Friday. Because the guy Hazid comes home from work and he's all hungry. And he goes into the kitchen and he opens up the pot and he starts making a mess with the hamid, whatever you want to say. And he puts it on the rice. And his wife goes ballistic. And she smacks his hand. Smack my hand. What do you smack my hand for? Why are you touching the food? I'm hungry. What do you want me to do? Right? And they start fighting and quarreling. So what happens? Listen what the Gemara writes. The Rabbi Meir hears what's going on. He hears about the splitting of minds. And he goes there for 3 weeks straight to make peace. And once it happens, Shamat shekara satan vaida peke Rabbi Meir lahu gavram bebeteh. The Yitzhara comes and says, I can't believe that the Rabbi Meir took out the Yitzhara from that home. Which means if there's division, if there's quarreling, if there's discord, if there are problems, it's all coming from the Yitzhara. It's coming from Makom Tum'ah. It's coming from a place which is impure. And therefore we have to understand just exactly where our quarrels are coming from. Our gripes, when we get offended, when we're coming, right, where a person takes offense to something. Where is that coming from? So the Zohar comes and writes, it's coming from Makom Tum'ah. And it's something that you're able to control. Wait a second. Sivla Midot, Rav Nachman from Breslov comes and says something astounding. Listen to these words. Rav Nachman comes and says, Al yedei atzvut, gam ha'ohavim yachliku alecha. When a person is sad, when a person is depressed, even your friends start fighting with you. Isn't that amazing? Which means, what does that mean? Because I'm sad, so my friends start fighting? No, you don't understand. When you're sad, when you're depressed, you start fighting. Take a look at a bully. Anybody ever deal with bullies? Right? I remember when I was a kid, and I was in 6th or 7th grade, I was in camp. And we had bullies. These guys were in 10th grade, and they decided to pick on Zeytouneh, little Zeytouneh. Right? And they started calling me names and started pushing me around and I never got bullied a day in my life. That doesn't happen. Right? No such thing. And I interrogated. And I saw that these people came from troubled homes. They were sad. They were upset. And because they were so sad, because they were so upset, they had to take it out on a scapegoat. They had to go and they had to vent their frustrations out on a victim. And many times the source of our quarrel comes from our sadness, from our insecurities, from our own inhibitions. And because we're not secure in ourselves, we're not confident with ourselves, we're not happy with ourselves, that's why we initiate these quarrels. That's why we start and instigate these fights. All because there's something wrong with us. But wait a second. The Mikubalim right. This sadness that we're talking about, which is the source of many fights, the source of many jealousies, of envy, when we're not able to tolerate watching other people succeeding. And therefore we got to start with them. We have to fight them. We have to insult them. We have to put them down, denigrate them, then degrade them. Where does sadness come from? So the Mekubalim right, sadness also comes from impurity. Which means, again, anytime you see machaloket, and it's a vicious fight, understand that's coming from the Yetzer Hara. And as right as you think you are, and as justified as you think you are, the Mekor, the source, the West Pool, is coming from a place of contamination, of impurity. And it's something we have to keep in mind every time we argue with somebody. Now, one second. The truth of the matter is that the Peleoites comes to write something phenomenal. By the way, we're going to get to something. If you didn't, so far everything we're saying is pretty much standard. And many of these things we knew already. But wait a second. Comes the Peleoites and writes, if you take a look, most things that we argue about, most things that we quarrel about, most of our gripes with other people, the things we take offense about, are nonsense. Nothing is worth fighting for. Nothing is worth getting upset about. Because a person comes and insults you. He comes and he denigrates you. He puts you down. He makes fun of you. He doesn't invite you to his wedding or to his engagement. Or he doesn't invite you to his house. Or he doesn't call you when it's your birthday. Now think for a second. Did that make me any poorer? Am I losing money now because he forgot my birthday? I didn't lose anything. Did it hurt me? Do I have any pain now because he insulted me? I didn't get hurt in any way. It's all shtiyot. It's all nonsense. It's all steam. It's all the Yetzer Hara. Trying to deprive you from your happiness, your self-justified happiness, your self-deserving happiness. Trying to take things away from you over nothing, over foolishness, over ruach, or what is it going to say? Over ra'uta ruach. Nonsense. And if a person is able to realize that and ascertain that at all times, you'll never be upset at anybody. Realizing that you really never lost anything. You really never, you weren't deprived of anything. A person is able to easily allow these fights, these quarrels, these problems, these issues to quickly dissipate. Listen to this. Comes Ochot Tzadikim and says something phenomenal. He says like this, ready? Here we go. He says, imagine a person. Sometimes you get upset at somebody. Why? Because he didn't do a kindness for you. He won't do you a favor. Or maybe he didn't give you a present. Or I need a loan and he's not giving me that loan. Don't get upset about these things. Why? Don't put your emotions in the hands of other people. I can't allow other people to control the way I'm going to feel, or the way I'm going to react, or the way I'm going to lead my emotions. I can't allow other people to hold the reins of my heart. I got to be in control. I have to make sure that I have those gauges in my hand, and that allow other people to navigate my heart, to navigate my emotions. Such an important thing. But when I allow other people to get me upset, when I allow other people to get me agitated, when I start fighting with people, when I become envious of others, that means I'm giving the reins to my heart and I'm putting them in the hands of other people. And how important it is for me to abstain from doing that. I'll give you an example. Today, I had a meeting. I had to be in yeshiva at a certain time. I think it was like 9:30 a.m. I had to be at a meeting at 9:30 a.m. And sure enough, I pull out of my driveway, and my driveway, you know where I live. I live at none of your business where I live. But actually, I live a couple of blocks away from yeshiva. And I like to take my car. So sure enough, I get into my car, and as I go onto Avenue V, there's standstill traffic. Anybody who knows Rabbi Zeytouneh, I hate traffic. I hate traffic. I can't. I do the beeps, Yalla, let's go on. Right? That's me. I can't handle it. And then I started thinking for a second. And I thought to myself, and said, you know what? I'm not getting mad. Why should I get mad? I'm going to allow the 3 cars in front of me to control my emotions and my anger and my day? Of course not. I'm not going to allow them to be the ones to tell me how to feel. So I decided, I know what's going to put me at ease. Took my phone, I put on learntorah.com, Zeytouneh. Good evening, everybody. Oh, Yallah, right? What happened? I decided I'm going to take the reins in my hand and I'm going to decide how I'm going to feel. And that's what a person has to do. Don't allow someone else to handle your controls, to tell you how to feel, to navigate your emotions. A person has to learn how to take control of his own emotions. And when I was a kid, they had a game. They would take a person's kippah and start running around with it. And the guy would go and start getting incensed, and start getting upset. And he would start running from one, and they would throw it to the other guy would start running. It would be a Saluji game. So I remember when I was a teacher, when I first became a Rabbi, they did that also. I thought the games get more advanced. I thought nowadays you do it on the iPad. No? Okay? But what happened? So I came to the kid and said, you wanted to stop? You wanted to stop? You wanted to come and give you your kippah back? Next time they take your kippah and start running, just stay in place. Sit down. Right? And make believe it's totally fine. And watch them and laugh as they're throwing it around. And within 5 seconds, they gave it back to him. Because they realized they can't control his emotions. They can't control his anger. They're not going to navigate how he feels and how he reacts. And that's what we have to tell the Yetzer Hara. Every time the Yetzer Hara pulls your kippah off, every time the Yetzer Hara puts you into traffic, every time the Yetzer Hara comes and embarrasses you, puts you down, denigrates you, degrades you, makes fun of your bold spot, you tell the Yetzer Hara, I'm staying in my place. Have fun with my bold spot. And when you're ready, just give it back. And you could smile and laugh the entire thing away. Don't allow other people to control the way that you feel. But wait a second, because now it gets a little bit interesting. The question is, how do I dissipate quarrels? How do I stop the fights? How do I run after peace? How do I run after tranquility? Rabbi, I want to do it. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be offended. I don't want to be downtrodden. I want to be a person who's happy. What do I do? So I want you to hear the next segment of this class. You ready? Here we go. Comes the Sefer Haradim. And the Sefer Haradim says, number one step, when a person wants to be someone who pursues peace, who stops quarrels, stops fighting, stops division, pursues unity, what is the number one step you got to do? Says the Sefer Haradim, number one, you have to understand that you can do it. Number one thing you have to do when you want to be a person who is peaceful is you have to realize, I have the ability to be peaceful. I have the ability to control my emotions. I have the ability not to be offended and not to be upset and not to be, taken aback by a comment or an action that's committed against me. I have the gauges in my hand and I have to believe it. And I'll prove it to you. If you think about it, the same statement can be made by two different people. And one person, you just let it slide off your back, and the other person, you take offense. I'll give you an example. The other day, I was sitting with my daughter, and my daughter comes up to me, and I forgot what I was doing. I was doing something with eggs. Maybe I was making eggs, and I never make eggs. But I was doing something. And she comes up to me and says, Daddy, where do eggs come from? I said, well, if you really want to know, go inside and ask the smartest person in the house where eggs come from. So she looks at me like she's confused. I said, honey, what's the matter? I said, go inside. I said, listen, who's the smartest person in the house? So she tells me, I am. I have a problem. She thinks she's the smartest person in the house. I said, okay, honey, no problem. Go to the second smartest person. Who's the second smartest person in the house? She looks at me, she goes, you are. So she thinks she's smarter than me. She just called me, okay, whatever. Right? That's what she called me, basically. Now, wait a second. If Morris Shikala would tell me that he was smarter than me, I'd send him one way to the engagement party. Okay? One way. You want to go? Try it. Come. Okay? Hold on a second. But since I love my daughter, I don't love you. Let's not get there, okay? Since I love my daughter, so I was willing to take that comment that she said that could be potentially so offensive and let it not bother me. Which means I have the controls in my hand. I can decide when I'm going to get offended and when not. When I'm going to let things go and when not. When I'm going to allow them to build into productive, constructive relationships. And when I'm going to allow them to destroy my entire life. I get to choose. It's in my control, in my hand. And I got to make that decision. You know, the other day, I just got a haircut. Okay, I'm sure you could tell. And I just got a haircut. So my son comes and he takes a look at my haircut. Now he became a teenager. He likes to style up his hair and whatever. And he says, Daddy, do you know that in the last 2 weeks you lost more hair? I said, you know why? He goes, why, Dad? He was all concerned. I said, because every time I talk to you, I just want to pull out more, right? But I didn't get offended. You did talk about my bald spot, and I'll kill you. Sorry, Rabbi. Because I decide when I'm going to get offended and when I'm not going to get offended. So I have the ability at all times when anybody shakes me up or makes fun of me, puts me down, ignores me, doesn't invite me to their parties or to their house, forgets my birthday or my anniversary, I can decide whether to get offended or not. So step number one, Hadass, you listening? You like step number one? Is I get to choose. And I could do it. That's step number one. But listen to step number two. I love step number two. This is going to make your whole class. There's once a person who came to me and said, Rabbi, I'm having a hard time with parnassah. Nothing is working right. Every time I try a venture, it just doesn't go. He says, you know, I was supposed to get a shipment from China, and it was delayed for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, I have no merchandise to sell. I'm sitting at home all day long. What am I supposed to do? Why is my parnassah being tainted? Why is it being affected? Why am I having such a hard time? So I opened up a sefer called Likutei Etzot. It's a sefer, a Breslover sefer. And he quotes the Likutei Moharan. And anyone who ever saw my status yesterday, I put on my status. But wait a second. Listen to these words. Everybody ready? Here we go. Says the Likutei Etzot, Rav Nachman. Ka'as mezik leparnasa v'ashirut me'od me'od. When a person gets angry, it harms, it affects your parnasah tremendously. V'teda. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen very carefully right now. Whenever the Yetzer Hara comes to you and tries to agitate you, to instigate, to get you to be angry, understand that in Shamayim, they want to give you a tremendous amount of money. They want to give you a tremendous amount of sustenance, a parnassah, a wellspring of affluence. The Yetzer Hara wants to ruin that opportunity. He wants to prevent you from getting that wealth. By making you an angry person. And even if you have money, you can lose that money when you get angry. Ladies and gentlemen, did you just hear what I said? Every time that there's an opportunity for you to get angry, or a desire for you to get angry, or something's a mishap and you want to get angry, Rav Nachman is telling you that Borei Olam wants to give you something great at that moment. And the Yetzer Hara doesn't want it to happen. So he's going to do everything in his power to make you upset. And the second you get upset, you just lost that wellspring. Unbelievable. How many times does it happen? A person's sitting in his office and your wife calls. And you do what I do. Decline. Right? Shh, don't tell her. She doesn't watch my classes anyway. Anyway, right? And what does she do? She calls again. So I press decline again. But my wife is smarter than me. She calls again. And she calls the third time and the fourth time. And after 5 times, I think, you know what? It must be an emergency. So I answer. Honey, what's the matter? Hi, how you doing? I was wondering, what are you wondering? I'm wondering, what are you calling me for? What do you want for dinner? Wait a second. By the way, usually I call her and tell her what I want for dinner. Okay? Why is that happening? Why am I getting so upset now? Why did she have to call me 1,000 times? What is the reason? And now I know. Because Borei Olam wants to give me a tremendous sale at that moment. There's going to be a tremendous amount of money coming my way. Tremendous amount of shifa, shpa'ah, greatness, splendor. And the Yetzer Hara is going to try to stop you right there. Get angry at your wife. Scream at her. Be obscene. Be brash. Be offensive. But if I do, all that prosperity doesn't fall down. So we have to be very careful and understand that every moment, when I'm being agitated, that means Hashem wants to give me something good. And the Yetzer Hara is trying to do everything He can to prevent me from getting that good. Are you going to falter? Wait a second. That was a good source. But hold on a second. You know, I wish Rosie was here today. I have a good Rabbi Zeytouneh story. Only rabbis, right? There's a Gemara Masechet Kedushin. And the Gemara Masechet Kedushin, Daf Mem Mud Aleph, comes and writes the following. Listen, everyone knows this. I say it all the time. I probably talk about this Gemara many times, but it applies today. The Gemara writes that there are certain things, there are certain things you can devour the fruit in this world. But the main reward you get in the next world. One of those things is making peace between man and his friend. Wait a second. If I'm peaceful, if I bring 2 people and I allow them to acclimate, and to acquiesce, and to bond, that's an act that I'm going to enjoy not only in the next world, but in this world as well. And if that's the case, when I bring 2 people together that are quarreling, if I'm peaceful myself, imagine how beneficial it will be for me in this world. Because if you're peaceful, you never lose out. So I got to tell you Rabbi Zeytouneh's story. You know what? For the last 3 weeks, these stories have been happening, and no one ever believes me. You think it only happens to rabbis. Only rabbis. So listen to this story. As I mentioned before, my grandmother passed away a week and a half ago. And the first day of Shiva, I was taking care of my mother, making sure she was okay. She was sitting, and I was supposed to come pick her up. I don't know if I told you the story. Did I tell you the story? I didn't tell you the story. So I was supposed to pick her up and bring her back home. I was in shul. My mother says, don't worry, your sister already brought me home. No problem. So I'm driving, and as I'm driving to go home, I say, you know what? Let me go see my mother. So I'm driving, and now I have to pull into her driveway. As I'm pulling into her driveway, a car comes from the other direction, speeding, and hits the tail of my car. All the side airbags, all deployed. Unbelievable. By the way, it makes a crazy sound. I thought I lost my hearing, right? And the whole day I'm doing this. People think I'm crazy. I'm walking around, they think I'm like the Chiquita banana lady, right? I'm walking around. I said, Rabbi, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Why do you ask? Right? Something wrong? I said, Rabbi, what are you doing? Oh, no, I'm checking my hearing. Just making sure it's equal. Right? And I walk up to the guy and I say, you crazy. He was speeding. And he tells me, I wasn't speeding, right? What are you talking about? I was over here, I was 3 feet away. Why'd you turn? And I'm fighting with the guy. I'm arguing with the guy. And my mother tells me, just let him go. I said, Mom, what are you talking about? We'll make a police report. They'll pay for everything. She says, don't worry. We'll pay for the damages. Just don't fight. I said, Ma, come on. Look at this guy. He's probably illegal. They put him over the wall. Let's go. What's the problem? She said, honey, please, enough. Just come in. Let him go. So sure enough, I take a look at the guy after, we call the police, and then my mother said, just let him go. I said, okay, you go. Get out of here. So the guy gets in the car, he pulls away. And I'm wondering to my mother, why? We had it. Insurance will pay for it. The guy is liable. What's wrong? What's the problem? Who cares? So next day I'm in my office. And as I'm in my office, my wife calls. I press decline. Okay, I pick up the phone. And she goes, honey, you got to go down to DMV. I said, I do. Why? She says, your license is suspended. I said, again? No, right? What do you mean? She goes, your license is suspended. I had to pay this driver's assessment fee or something, and I didn't pay it yet. I said, wow. She goes, honey, you know what that means? I said, what does it mean? Because imagine yesterday you would have called the cops. I know, thank you very much, right? I got it. Imagine you would have called the cops. And the cops would have came down. The first thing they would ask you for is license. I see you've been there before. And registration. And when they would come and realize that my license was suspended, I'd be in jail. Now imagine I'm sitting in jail. And you have these I've been there 3 times. Anyway, but I know it's true. And imagine I've been in jail, and all of a sudden you have these big, tough guys. So what are you in for? Suspended license. What are you doing? Right? You know what I would say? Snap someone's neck with my bare arms, right? Right? But when a person is peaceful, when a person comes and he pursues peace, tranquility, you never lose. You never lose, not even in this world. Because peace protects you. Unbelievable. But wait a second. I want to quote for you another Likutei Eitzot from the same Sefer. He comes to Likutei Eitzot and he writes like this. Ready? And this is really the centerpiece of my class tonight. Says in the Likutei Eitzot, Kol ha'olam maleh machlokot. The world is full of division. It's full of fights and quarrels and disputes all over the place. Hen ben umot ha'olam, v'chen b'chol ir v'ir, every city and every home. Ben ha'shechinim, the neighbors. Ben kol echad im ishto, every person with his wife. U'bnei betom sharetav, with the maids, with the housekeepers, with the workers. U'banav v'kayotze bazeh. V'en mi she'yasim el libo tachlit, she'bechol yom adam met. Life is short, ladies and gentlemen. Life is short. Ki hayom she'avar lo yeh od. The day that passes will never return. It will never come back. The moment that you live now, once it goes forever. Ubechol yom hu mitkalef lemitah. And if that's the case, do I really want to spend the moments of my life upset and sad? Is that the way I want every moment of my life, which is so precious? Do I want to waste it on being offended, or being upset, or being sad, or being embarrassed? Is that the way I want to waste my life? Forget my life. A year of my life? Forget a year of my life. A minute of my life? Do I want to spend my life being upset at someone else? What a waste of life. What a waste of time. Because time is precious. And once it's gone, it never comes back. You know, there's a Gemara. In Masechet Sotah. I love this Gemara. The Gemara Masechet Sotah comes and writes the following. Listen to this. It's a great Gemara. We just learned it on Shabbat, Charlie. Ready? Says the Gemara, there was once a rabbi named Rabbi Abhu. Rabbi Abhu, they say Rabbi Avau, had a wife. And the way it used to work in those days was the rabbi, he didn't scream. He wouldn't scream. He would have a person called the Meturgeman. And the Meturgeman was like a microphone, an amplifier. So the rabbi would say his class to the Meturgeman, and the Meturgeman would then come and amplify the entire class. He would come and he would scream the entire class, so the rabbi would preserve his voice and not have to exert himself. So one time the Meturgeman's wife came to Rabbi's wife, and she says, by the way, we don't need your husband. Can you imagine? My husband, the Meturgeman, he's a chacham in his own right. We don't need your husband services. The only reason that my husband comes and addresses your husband is for kavod for your husband. But he doesn't need, he's greater than your husband. So sure enough, Rabbi Avu's wife got all offended. And she runs to Rabbi Avu to say, look what happened. Look what he said, look what she said. Must be it's coming from her husband. And Rabbi Avu comes and he says the following. Ready? He tells her, Amar la, Omay nafkalich mina. What do you care? What do you gain by being upset? What do you gain by being offended? By being upset, by being offended, by being taken aback, you gain nothing. But if there's peace between me and him, at the end of the day, Borei Olam is praised. Because we're going to talk Torah between me and him. Who cares what he thinks? And who cares what she thinks? I'm not wasting my life being upset. I'm not going to allow that to distract me from enjoying life, from building, from accomplishing, from achieving, from being happy. Somebody else's opinion, or what they think, or what they hold true in their hearts. I'm not going to ruin my life, my minute, my second, because of somebody else. And by the way, because the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, how many brothers do you know that don't talk because of these fights and quarrels? How many sisters don't talk? How many parents don't talk to their kids? How many partners don't talk? Is it worth it, even for one moment, for these people to be upset with their parents, with their brothers, with their sisters, with their children? What a waste of life. Every moment with the people that you love, hold it dear. You know, I was just telling my kids, go back to my grandmother. 8 years ago, my grandfather passed away. And I used to go every Friday, we eat the rice, the hamot, mixed peas. It's very nice. After my grandfather passed away, I felt like I couldn't go yet. And then my wife's grandfather passed away. And my wife came to me and said, honey, let me tell you something. I wish I had more moments to spend with my grandfather. I wish I had more moments to spend with him. More dear moments that we could share together. Make sure you spend every available moment you have with your grandmother. Every time you can spend with her. Every moment, every second that you could sit with her. Relish in her greatness. Bask in her majesty. And I took her advice. And every Friday I took my kids and we went to Teta. Every Friday. And we wiped her out clean, by the way. I ate all the food. I forget my kids. I ate all the food. They helped out a little bit. But today that my grandmother's not here anymore, I appreciate every minute that I spent with her. People fighting with other people. Why? Husbands fighting with wives. Why? Every moment you have with that wife, appreciate it. Value it. Cherish it. Because those moments will never come again. Don't waste them being offended. Okay. So far we're doing all right. Let's go to the third segment. And the third segment is, what must I do to make peace? So we did the importance of peace. We showed you how important it is to pursue peace. How do I do it? What do I do? Well, there's a parasha in the Sefer Devarim, Parashat Shoftim. And over there, Borei Olam comes and says, listen, you're going to now enter the land of Israel. You're going to enter the land of Israel. And when you enter the land of Israel, you have to conquer the entire land of Israel. But what are you supposed to do? Just walk in and start killing people? Says Borei Olam, no. When you come close to a city and you want to wage war, the first thing is, take the first step and extend your hand out in peace. You hear what Borei Olam said? Whenever you're approaching a war, your first step is, you extend your hand out in peace. You take the first step. Don't wait for someone else to say, you know what? I'm fighting with this person. I'm going to wait for them to say I'm sorry. Let them say I'm sorry first. Because it might never happen. And if you're going to stay fighting with that person for years, that's years that you're wasting being upset at somebody else. And I want to tell you something. The Kavi Yashar comes and writes, you know how you can make the hearts warm up? How I can heat up those hearts? What do I do? Kavi Yashar says, very simple. Ready? Listen to this. Just by saying hello. That brings people together. Just a hello. I'll tell you a great story. Another rabbi story. Want to hear another rabbi story? Another rabbi story. You know, there's once a person who I got very upset with. Very upset. You know, and I don't know how many of you know me, but sometimes when I get upset, I get a little heated. Okay? Right, Albert? Sometimes when I get upset, I get a little heated. Now, I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to chill. Now, so there was a person who got me very upset. And they lost a parent. And they had a askara, an arayat. And I said, you know what? They hurt me. They offended me. They slighted me. But I'm going to go to the arayat. I'm going to extend my arm out. I want to make a gesture. And let's see what happens. So sure enough, I walk in and everyone's jaw dropped. Because everybody knew that I was upset at this person. Everyone, you know, they got up, they were giving me kavod. And the guy came up to me and extended me a hand and said, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. And until today, we're friends. Because I took that first step and went to his arayat. I'll tell you another story. There were siblings that were fighting. Fierce fighting. And one of the siblings had a wedding. Their child's wedding. And there was no way that the other sibling was going to go. But the night of the wedding came, and they went. And all of a sudden, the entire argument just melted away. Because they showed, I care. They took that first step. They extended the hand. They sent the white flag. And that allowed peace to resonate in that family. So number one is, you take the first step. You're right? Well, what about my kavod, Rabbi? What about my kavod? Does my kavod, does my honor, does my esteem mean anything? Isn't it worth anything? Well, there's a Mishnah Pirkei Avot, the fourth Perek. And the Mishnah writes, Ezu mechubad, who's really honored? HaMechabed the Beriyot. One who honors other people. That's who is afforded that honor. So if I want honor, abstaining from going and making peace with someone is not going to do it. You're not going to attain your goal. You want other people to honor you? You go out and honor others. You take that first step, extend that hand, give that hug, and then you'll get that kavod. So that's step number one. Step number two. Rav Dessler comes and says, you know, there's a concept in rabbinics, in the rabbinic texts. And the rabbis write, whenever you see machloket, Bet Shammai, Bet Hillel. Bet Shammai says on Chanukah, right, you go from 8 to 1. Bet Hillel says, you go from 1 to 8. The Gemara writes, Elu va'elu divrei Elohim chayim. Both of these opinions are divine. What do you mean? The halakha is like somebody. What do you mean both these opinions are divine? Both of these opinions are godly words. What are you talking about? So Rav Dessler comes and says that there's always two perspectives to things. There's always two perspectives to things. Two reasons why things happen. There's always two reasons why things might happen. And if I understand the other person's perspective, maybe I'm not always so offended. Maybe it doesn't hurt me so much. If I realize why the person did what he did. I want to tell you something, by the way. There is a rule. The rule is, if I didn't get invited to a wedding, and I think I'm supposed to, Rabbi say, go. Go. It could be, there was a guy who just got caught, a mailman. I think he had 18 years of mail in his house. 18 years of mail. You know how many Zeytouneh invitations must have been there? Okay? So the rabbi's right. If you think you're supposed to be invited to something, go. Most likely they'll be happy that you went. Don't get offended. Don't get upset. But wait. If I realize that there's another perspective on things, there's another way to view things, another way to go about things, maybe I won't be so offended. You know why they didn't invite me? Maybe Hazaton, they don't have enough money. Especially Rabbi Zeytouneh, the way he eats, forget about it. Okay? Maybe that's why I'm not invited. Or maybe they had a certain limit of invitations. Maybe that's why I'm not invited. By understanding that there is another perspective, or another theory, another reason, automatically my heart warms up and I'm ready to take that first step. But waiting. Let's say I did take the first step and it didn't go my way. I did. I went, I shook their hand, and they weren't so happy with me. I'm fighting with my wife. So I go and I talk to her. And she still calls me a bum. And she still burns my rice. And still makes the same thing for dinner every night. What else does she do? No, I'm just joking, right? What am I supposed to do? Do I give up on peace? Well, there's a Gemara saying Gittin. And the Gemara saying Gittin comes and writes like this, on the 30th page on the first side. The Gemara writes like this, Lo alin v'lo alechem, B'ezrat Hashem should have Bayit Ne'eman B'Yisrael, and good things, semachot, and engagement parties, not on Monday nights, right? Gemara writes like this. Leila, are you listening? Awesome Gemara. Says the Gemara, let's say a person comes and he writes a get, Lo alin, and he gives it to his wife, and he tells Beit Din, if I don't appease her within 30 days, the get's a get. That means I have 30 days to make up with my wife. 30 days to talk to her. 30 days to, make her smile. 30 days to make her realize that I'm a good guy. When the 30th day comes, and he didn't appease his wife, he tried. Is it a get or not? So I want you to hear what Rav Yosef says. Amar Rav Yosef, well, did he do everything he could? Did he do everything in his power to try to make her happy? Did he give her a box of money? That would make me happy. Did he do everything he can to infuse tranquility into his family? If not, the get is not a get. Let him go try harder. And step number 3 is don't give up. He tried to make peace. He went to say, I'm sorry. But if it didn't make peace yet, you didn't try hard enough. You got to try harder. Ladies and gentlemen, I deal with Shalom Bayit issues. Husbands and wives come to me to try to make the minds mend. And many times husband turns around and says, you know what? I tried. I did everything I could. What do you want me to do? I'm attempting. And she's just not flipping. And the truth is, are you really? You know, whenever there's disharmony, I always tell the husband, take your wife on a date. Like you did in the olden days. You know, dress up very nicely, put on the cologne, gel the hair, right? Go out on a date and dazzle her. Compliment her. Open the door for her. Buy her a rose. Write her a poem. Right? Roses are red. Violets are blue. Please forgive me, or I'll kill you. No, not that. Don't say. Right? But write her a poem. Did you do everything you can? Did you try your hardest? Did you give her money? And I mean, that's what the Gemara say. My cousin's upset at me. My mother's upset at me. My mother-in-law's upset at me. And I want her to like me. If you didn't gain it, if you didn't attain it, if you didn't accomplish it, you didn't try hard enough. There's always more you can do. Because peace comes from Kedusha. And if you're pursuing peace, peace begins with unity and it ends with unity. So if I didn't achieve unity yet, I didn't try hard enough. Because anything that has to do with tranquility is rooted in Kedusha. You know, I want to tell you something. People tell me all the time that they have hard times with their mother-in-laws. You know, I make fun of mother-in-laws. My mother-in-law is a dal. She's really a good tzaddiket, a very nice lady. Many of the people come to my house on Shabbat. You know she's a nice lady. She has to deal with me. Okay. She's the most famous mother-in-law in America now. Anyway, but some people come and say, Rabbi, I don't know what to do with my mother-in-law. I say, you don't know I can tell you what to do with your mother-in-law. Just compliment her until she's tired of it. Everything she does, compliment her. You sit down, take a look at her shades. Wow, Ma, you bought those shades. Wow, you must be so artistic. Unbelievable. She makes you water. Ma, the water, best tasting water I ever tasted. Okay? She makes you food. The rice, half burnt. I love a hata. I love burnt rice. It's great. You ever eat a hata? You know what hata is? You know what hata is? You know what it is? Can you make us some hata? It's great. It's burnt rice. It's crispy. You break your teeth, but it's very good. Okay? Someone told me to segula for ashirut. For worship, for getting wealthy. I've been eating it for a couple of years. I'm still waiting, but it's okay. Right? Ma, that's the best hata you ever made. It's great. She makes you a cake. You know what I do? Every Shabbat, I buy my wife flowers. I buy my mother flowers. And I buy my mother-in-law flowers. You see that? Are you doing everything you can to make peace? Everything you can to retain tranquility? Everything you can to make sure there's harmony and serenity in your life? Don't waste a moment of your life being upset. Don't waste a moment of your life being offended. Don't waste a moment of your life being angry. Don't waste a moment of your life, period. Utilize every moment in your life to be happy, to accomplish, to achieve. And by doing that, Be'ezrat Hashem, by really bringing people together, you will not only enjoy your Olam Haba, you'll enjoy your Olam Hazeh. You'll enjoy your wife and your kids, your brothers and your parents. You'll enjoy every moment of your life. Let's not be fragmented. Let's come together. And by doing so, Be'ezrat Hashem, the Rabbi is right. V'hu be'echad. Borei Olam will reside with us. Be'ezrat Hashem. Amen. Thank you for listening. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Amen. Rabbi Hananiah Melech Hashem Omer.